the logic is backwards to begin with, because for some reason it seems I don't know. That's why I had to say, like, you guys value your life, right? Why would you not want the charge to effectively scream, "Do not shoot"?
Well, what's even scary is that Maxwell's claiming that.
No,
they've
Maxwell
been charging it that way
agrees.
forever.
Hey,
sorry, I had a headache.
You're good.
My honest, I'm not against that idea at all, because I can sympathize with less fortunate groups not being able to sort of breathe.
Yeah.
My only issue with it would be, not my issue, but my compromise or whatever would be, I'm all for possessions being all encompassing and all included and all that, whatever, one flat charge.
Yeah.
I do think there'd have to be a stipulation for those found to be in possession of more than one firearm would garnish like an additional possession charge.
Isn't that evidence of gang related?
If there's no shooting?
Yeah.
If they rob a bank and they have 3 guns in them?
Why? I guess I don't really know the scenario.
I'm talking about like we don't always have all the prongs if gang related. Let's say we rob somebody robs a bank, whatever, and for some fucking reason they've got 5 fucking guns on them. I think they should, if it's all encompassing, they should get the all encompassing charge plus 4 gun possession charges, because it's out of the norm. You're talking about the normal.
Yeah, maybe it's something like it covers up to 2 guns or some shit.
Sure, and I do think 100%.
2 guns I think is reasonable, because I imagine. Look, listen. This is the beauty of not being a cop or a criminal. Exactly. Sure. They got a deagle for this,
even that I can get fucking behind that. Like, that's not the end of the world. I do think 100%, and something I won't stray forth on. I think there does have to be a difference or like a distinction for like class 3 specifically. That class 3 would not be covered under.
Well, class 3 can be an exception.
That'd be wild. I think class 3 would have to be a possession, and I think more than 2 guns, you get additional per, whatever.
The thing to keep in the foreground of our mind as well is people are losing these things.
Yeah,
so
them getting fined is not the only hit. They lose the value of whatever it is. They
exactly.
Get a hot gun on top of it.
Yes.
I know. There's more levels.
Yeah.
Like what's that? They get billed $70K, but they lost $80K in gear.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Heads up. I think that's something I would have no problem with. Obviously, like I said, just to cover like the normal quote unquote bank robbery. But like there has to be like, I think a fail safe for like the weird times where somebody might have 4 guns on them. Somebody has somehow somebody has a fucking class 3 on them. You know what I mean?
The premise is 2 prongs why I'm going down this approach. One is it seems like umbrellas are getting umbrella-fied, which I think how much work you guys do on your end, like obviously that's not as relevant. It's creating I think it moves away from the reason why umbrellas came to begin with, which is let people do interesting shit and not worry about whether they have to or don't have to shoot cops.
If you do a bank with fucking if you have this fledged out plan with 8 hostages and whatever and this and that and blah 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 whatever, you still get fined X amount versus if you had 1 hostage and you drove fast.
Exactly that. Right.
I know.
And then in the same vein, like transparently, this is coming from a case where someone did a bank truck with a class 2. It was like one of their first times doing it, and they got stacked up the ass with a bunch of things. And does that mean they're not going to do it ever again? Probably not, but there's a better chance that they might just fucking flee San Andreas, and I'm not looking to see that. So,
so robbery charges like banks, whatever. I'm all good with it. In my opinion, my personal opinion, covering all possession charges. Just like I said, to an extent.
The second prong here is to limit how much you guys are getting shot, because that is a problem, right? I do see that I do recognize that there's a lot of class 2s on the street, but it's kind of like directing the right people getting hit heavy and not necessarily those that are just doing it in style.
Yeah, I think if the concern is for the smaller person, or what's the word I'm looking for, but the smaller group, those not in the top fucking 0.5% of the city with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I think obviously one, balancing or maybe lowering the lower level infractions that they're more susceptible to.
Which ones?
I mean, like it's very hard when you're talking robberies because everyone's hitting banks and shit. I do think attempted murder of an LEO and stuff like that has to be, because these small groups aren't shooting cops more frequently than not. Maybe once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
But I think that is always going to be like the ultimate deterrent to shooting cops is money, and I think taking away the money aspect does not help.
How much is it per cop?
For OISs, it's almost everyone almost always gets the accomplice charge, which is like 9,700.
Yeah, so it's kind of like another way to do the math is if you've got $100,000 worth of gear on you, right, plus the 60,000, the math is we can shoot up to 15 cops and get away. Like, you're risking killing 15 cops or not shooting at all. Is that kind of making sense? What I'm trying to ain't that? The decision on whether or not to shoot cops is partly mathematical, right? So
I mean, it's regardless of how much gear you have on you, it's shooting one cop. It's the value of that, or the punitive measure of that is always stacked on top. You go.
Well, it's
more
like a gamble, right? You're risking. If we shoot these cops to get away, and there's only 5 of them, it's worth the risk knowing that we've got this amount of gear on us. But if we do shoot these cops, like, it's a gamble, right? It's, and that gamble needs to make sense. It needs to decentivize the shooting in that, hey, you know what? I'm caught. Fuck it. I'm only losing my gear.
Well, that's, I mean, not shooting the cops and how do I explain that? How do I explain what I'm trying to say? What they have to lose versus the life of a cop will only they'll make the decision easier the cheaper the value of the charge is worth.
Agreed.
Because
yes.
Like, let's say if I'm chasing by, if me, Jenna, and fucking 2 other people, 4 cops are running behind somebody, and he looks behind me and goes, okay, that's 4 cops. They're 5K each per charge. That's only 20K. I can eat that.
Exactly.
I'll turn on gun down. But I'm not. Listen.
You're gambling 20K to save 160.
That's my point. Being like the charge of it. I'm speaking obviously specifically for that charge in the Urban LEO. When it's a punitive amount that makes sense, like whatever 9,700 right now for accomplice, if it's like a mass OIS, whatever. If they look behind them and they go, fuck, that's 10K per cop. Those 4 cops are now 40K. They second guess it and maybe they don't do it because they cut their losses. If they have 150K on gear on them, it's either they shoot those 4 cops, probably get shot down by the all fucking 30 other cops that are about to come.
Yeah.
They lose their 150K worth of gear plus another 40K on top plus all the other fines. It adds up. And I know you're doing some testing, whatever, but even this weekend,
it's already been reverted back, like a thing.
Yeah,
Monday
I know, but like on the weekend we were doing Academy, and fucking Jay Hobbs, he's a comedian, ran over and said, you guys are 50% off right now. I could shoot all of you, and then did a drive by on the Academy. So it's like, I just don't. He's kind of stupid, to be honest, but
he is. I think there is a real puzzle here, right? Which is the most violent crews, which there probably isn't that many of, should not effectively, in my opinion, be dictating the state of affairs. And
the reality is, though, that the most violent crews are the most prominent, and they're the most prevalent, and they're the ones that police deal with the most. It's
agreed.
And the fact is that the fines have to be set up in a way that they are still punitive to those on top, but not destructive to those at the bottom. And the issue is that often those at the top dictate where that goes.
Yeah, that is true. Some people, yeah. I mean, that's a hard one to chop up because we don't know how much people actually have in their bank balances.
Incredibly hard to balance.
What I have heard is people are crippled, and most are giving up and trying to attach themselves to the bigger gangs.
I could see at the bottom, but then at the same time, you know, I see the bigger gangs. They have fucking ARs like it's candy. Every fucking 3 days, they're running around with 6 ARs, 500 ammo, tourniquets up the ass, boxing. They have war dogs like it's nothing.
That is.
I can sympathize with the smaller groups being crippled, but
I don't think it's just to be clear here. I think when I'm talking about this topic, it's not just like that's not the only thing, right? I'm attacking it from multiple prongs. Is the disparity between crime that involves shooting cops versus not shooting cops. The second is making way for criminal charges to make sense and incentivize, not decentivizing creativeness. What the fuck?
Is that McNulty?
This guy's McNulty's collecting free paychecks apparently right now.
Really?
What the fuck?
Is he on the tugboat?
Is he fucking erping with that bird?
Probably not. He's probably checking for moonshine.
No, he's doing something.
He's whispering with nature right now.
I know what you mean though, but like you said, you're saying it has to make sense, and I agree, it does have to make sense.
Yeah.
And I said I do 100% see how people, you know, these fines can be hitting those that are less in a fortunate financial spot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I go with also what I see, and what I see is a lot of people are also just like it's like nothing. They eat these fucking fines. They get in 4 cop shifts a week of like 300K fines, and then I still consistently see them with their Lamborghinis and their M4s with, you know, all the ammo and all the things. So it's like
yeah, I mean, once again, that's the big crews, right? Like if there's a crew that opened up in Mirror Park recently, 15 plus deep. They disbanded real fast. You know why? They fucking did a handful of crime, and now they're so deep in the negative that they're better off just grinding for a bigger crew.
Yeah.
You know, on the off chance that they might get brought to a robbery.
The harsh reality is that the city's economy is progressing in such a way that, you know, starting out now is fucking...
It's impossible. You can't even get fucking property.
It might have been hard in the past without 40 fucking people in your group. Yeah. But with how things are now, like you can't get a property. You can't get a starter property unless you're fucking Houdini.
Yes, that is very true. Please have a chat with Turner. I spoke to him on the matter as well. I'm likely going to be pushing this regardless on where I want to bring concise criminal code around a lot of penal charges that don't exist. It's not going to be perfect, but it forms the basis by which charges can change, whether it's civilians, criminals, law enforcement. It's something to start with instead of the dog shit which we have today, which is 2-3 sentences. I don't think that's conducive to interesting law enforcement and court cases when people are left arguing, what does use of a weapon mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of bullshit.
I'm not a fan of hypercritical dissections of words.
No, it should be clear, verbose, and then alterations can be made, like the ones you suggested. Like, don't put, class 3 is exempt. Good. There'll be a bullet point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a chat with Turner if you could. We're gonna probably get something up on the docket this week.
Okay.
So, finally, you've probably seen a lot of impeachments coming through.
Yeah.
You'll notice that some of these fucks are starting to wake up. Some of that legislation has forged signatures on it. And finally, some case law that had rulings 6 months ago are finally starting to show up. So,
that's good. Yeah, I saw one of the Dominic Rhodes one went in recently.
Yep. Shit like that. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Ventura, okay. I appreciate it. You take care.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. He was more understanding than I think Turner and company. I think the thing is they're coming from two different perspectives. I know they want to see less class 2s, but I think the only way that they can do the judo is how much are you going to get fined?